Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you.
So what we are going to discuss in this business process will be the overview, definitions, step types, how we are going to create, copy or link the business process definitions. Definitely, we are going to look all these things in the tenant as well. There are sub-processes, how we are going to configure the business process steps, then notifications, and then management of the business processes. A business process is a workflow that enables an organization to execute a series of steps to achieve a business object. What does this mean is, for example, let's take in hire. Hiring will be done. I have already told you, hire is a big process. First, you are going to initiate the hiring process. Then you are going to create the position. Whether the position is there or not, then job profile. Everything should be there, and then it goes for the approval for the manager. Post-approval, there can be definitely, wherever you are hiring an employee, there comes a compensation. You cannot miss that step. Although the business process won't give you an error. But what's the purpose of hiring without giving compensation to an employee? So definitely post this. It means all the steps that will enable you to complete a business object, whether it's termination, change of job, or hiring. There are multiple business processes. I will show you in the system how to search for the business processes. All business processes are based on a business process definition. You can't create a business process in Workday without first defining it. Workday's default business processes are delivered definition and can be customized to meet your needs. You can copy the business process to any supervisory organization and tailor it as necessary, creating different versions of the same business process for different organizations. See, there are multiple business processes that are Workday delivered. So whenever you will open those Workday delivered business process definition with their name in their suffix, you will see that bracket. A bracket is there in that default definition will be mentioned. That means if anything that has default definition mentioned against their name, they are Workday delivered only. It is not recommended to touch or to edit or to alter the Workday delivered business process definition. Otherwise, what will happen is it's going to create a problem for you all. In future, if you are going to look into some kind of, if you are stuck in somewhere or any issue will come up, you won't be able to recognize it. And you won't able, it would be applicable to everyone. So what we will do is, if anything is existing in the system, that default definition will automatically. Whenever you are creating a supervisory organization, the default definition will automatically be copied for that particular supervisory organization. Until and unless you define a business process for your supervisory organization. So it's always recommended to define a Workday business process definition for your respective supervisory organization so that you can always go back and refer to the default definition of the Workday. I will show you why it is necessary. Now that's what here it is mentioned that you can copy the business process to any of the supervisory organization. If you are copying any business process in a supervisory organization, then you can do anything you want with them. You can create a number of conditions based on your customer requirement. What will happen is, if you are going to do something in the default definition, then ultimately all the supervisory organization will end up using the same default definition. You can't alter it based on your own need for that particular supervisory organization. Now we will have what's the prefix to search for BP. The BP column higher definition. I'm going to look for the higher. So sometimes what will happen is the Workday search will only give you the top 5 results of the default definition. Oh, top 100 result for your business processes. Any of the business processes. Here in this training tenant, we have exceeded that top 100. That's why we are not able to see the default definition. So now what I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to just give me 1 second, guys, because I think someone has to take a higher definition. This is the thing. If you are going to have look into the default definition, someone has edited the name. That's why it's not recommended to touch the Workday delivered definitions. We have the default definition. 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 Now here we can see that higher default definition. See how much I have to do this search. Even if you are working, because this is a training tenant. But if you are working for a client, you won't encounter such kind of issues. Because they will follow a single. Usually, all clients will follow a single higher definition for their organizations. Why? Because, for example, let's take an example of Deloitte. The hiring processes in USA super organization, the organization that exists in USA, for example, let's take an example, an organization that is existing in USA and an organization for Deloitte that is existing in India. You guys have heard Deloitte India, Deloitte USA, so the organization that are existing in USA and India all will follow the same hiring business process. So usually a company will follow a single a single business process, whether it's any business process, it's hiring, it's going to be it's going to be termination, it's going to be change job or any business process or any business object that you want to execute for your organization. They will follow a single definition for it. Usually, even if they are not following it, then they will create different business process for their supervisory organization. We will see how to create the business process for our supervisory organization. But let's now look into the main structure of our business process, how it looks like. So this is the business process. One example of business process that I was talking about, higher default definition. If anything that has default definition mentioned, that would be worked or delivered. It's not recommended to alter or to do any changes with the default definition. Always remember, it's not recommended. Always copy and go ahead with copy the default definition in your supervisory organization. Go ahead with the alterations you want. Now this is the page how the business process definition looks like. This is the effective date. Here you can see one effective date is there. That means this definition of business process is effective on this date. Now this is known as the time zone. Which time zone it follows? I will tell you the relevance of this time zone. Because, for example, I have created this business process, definition effective 1/1/1900. A higher BP for my supervisory organization. Now what will happen is somehow I go ahead and my client comes to and say that they want to add one step, effective 1st January 2024. So what I will do is I won't do the changes effective dated 1/1900. I will make the changes starting from 1/1/2024. So that will be 1/1/2024 time zone. The time zone that we had used in the business process. Automatically, it will be defaulted by your tenant settings only. Always remember it would be defaulted in your tenant settings. So now, usually and everywhere, the time zone for the Workday tenant is PST. So that's what they have taken it here. Now PST time zone. The changes will be effective on 1/1/2024. If I am going ahead with any changes, that would be effective on the PST time zone. For example, if I am working in 31st of December 9:30 p.m. So sorry if I am working on 1st January at 9:30 am. At that time, PST period is not changed to 1/1/2024. So in that case, my business process definition, what my business process will be picked up, the old definition, not the new one, because it would be effective from the 8 am. Sorry, the 12 am. PST to your PST timings. Workday will do changes only in its Workday. Will do changes only on its delivered things only. Always remember, not on your customized things. Thank you. And Workday knows that even if you change the name of this default definition to something Ankita Corporation, higher if I changed its name edit, if I go to the editor and I change its name, Workday knows that this is the default definition. So again, it will go back and do the changes here only if anything is delivered. So this is the effective date concept and how the time zone is going to follow. I will tell you what's the relevance of this time zone and effective date in our business process. Now this is the most recent use date that I have opened it. I have used it. Due date is 30 days. That means we haven't used it. So by default it's 30 days here. So suppress channel for notification. It is of no use because we are not going into the mobile things and all how. The mobile notification. We are not going to work with the integration team now. But yes, this is something that needs to be. If the client wants the things to be, the managers to be alerted on the mobile phone on their apps, then something that needs to be coordinated with integration teams. And you have to set that mobile push notifications here. So here we are going to have all the steps that would be involved in the business process. So this is an overview of the business process. Now, whenever you are clicking on this view diagram, you look into this view diagram. if you look into the view diagram, what all steps that you have configured for your business process, you will see a pictorial diagram of the same. You will visualize it. For example, analyst security group. Analyst will be initiating your business process manager here, the security group that can take the action on this particular business process step. Always remember the security group means that particular person can take the action on this particular step. Now manager will be taking care only the manager because we have assigned the manager security group. He or she will be taking care of the personal change of the personal information, and compensation administrator will be requesting a stock grant for the new hire. These are the steps, tasks that can change. It's not hard-coded somewhere. You are always welcome to go ahead and change it. Something that we are. Once the business process is complete, then we are going to hire it. No, sorry, completed. Now, this is a pictorial diagram and just giving you an overview of the business process. Always remember this is an overview of your business process. Here you can see that one security group restrictions is there. Only these many security groups will have access to your higher business process. Always remember these many security groups are going to have access for your higher BP. Because they are mentioned here, how we are going to assign it, this is something that we are going to look into. The security groups classes. We are going to create it, we are going to assign it, and we will link our security group to our already existing things like for compensation, for business processes, or for your supervisor to the organization. We will look into that. So, just as of now, just have a picture on it. Security group restrictions means these are the security groups that are being restricted for taking actions on your higher business process. Now coming to your business process steps. But first I will show you in the tenant, then I will go you by the definition or the example. We can say that the definition of the same. It would be more clear to you in that case. First we have, if we look into the tenant, it would be more clear to you. Now these are the business process steps, where we are going to configure the various steps before configuring the step. You should know the relevance or the definition or the importance of each and every. It is mentioned here. Now, going to the step, if you're talking about this step here, you can take all the relevant steps, actions that you want to take on your business process. Whether you want to create the conditions of the any condition rules, whether you want to maintain any step condition, or you mark any step condition you want to take. You can take it via the on this particular step. You can take it via the step. Step column. Always remember, step column is you if you want to take any action on your particular task. Any action that you need to take on your task will be done via the step column. The related actions of your step column. How we are going to look into detail. This is just to make you well versed with the definition of each and every column, the relevance of each and every column. No order. Here you can see that there is order usually involved if you follow A, B, C, D, E, F. What will happen is now, the next question should come to you. What will happen if my alphabet is elapsed like A till Z? All 26 steps are elapsed. Then in that case, if you want to insert any number, insert any step, just follow A21, A3, A4. Whether you are going to create a step, for example, if you have created A and then you have created Z step, you have given the order number as Z and then you have given the order number as C. Automatically, Workday will pick up first A, then B and then Z. It will automatically go by the ascending order of the alphabetical order until and unless any number is mentioned along with your alphabets. If with A you have mentioned A, then first A will be processed and then A1, A2, A3 respectively. And then comes B, C, D, E. It will always go by the ascending, howsoever you are going to create. If you are going to create first Z, then Y, then it will automatically pick up above Y and Z in the ascending alphabetical order. Always remember, the order will be picked based on the ascending alphabetical things. If you have C here, first A will be picked up, then F, then G. Am I clear with these 3 columns, or 2 columns? Guys, it's very important for you to have well versed with the columns definition, columns relevance. Then only you will be able to create the business processes. So usually we will go to the numbers when our all alphabets are elapsed. For example, all 26 A to Z are elapsed. Then we will go with the alphabet in between, or in the case where, for example, during the implementation, my client has told me there are 13 steps. So I have done it from A to G. Fine, all my 13 steps are well configured. Then somehow at the middle of my project, my client comes up and told me that, oh Ankita, I want to insert one step in between B and C. So in that case, we are going to use B1. We are not going to change the numbering. C, D, then we are going to C insert a new step as C and then DF. No, we are simply going to insert it as B1. Make it as a B1. If beyond Z, then Z1, Z2, Z3 definitely. If not, then if we want to insert in between, then A1, A2, A3. This is just for your F. Yeah, usually we don't have these many lengthy business process definitions. But yes, in your interview they can ask you what will happen if all my alphabets have been elapsed and how you are going to add the step there. This is for your FYI for your interview questions. Usually we don't have these much lengthy business processes. So the more lengthy the process will be, the more problematic it will be. So they will keep simple and clear. Usually it will get finished within 8 to 10 steps only. The problem will come whenever they want to insert anything in between. Usually they will try to enter the conditions. But yes, if any condition will come up, then in that case you are going to use B1. You are going to use the number, or else you can go ahead and change the alphabets as well if you want. Now coming to this, don't go with this parallel step. Inbox order. We will discuss it once we create it. In that case, I will show you how it will come to the inbox. Parallel step. Parallel step, or else I will just explain it to you. Parallel step inbox order means both the steps will come to the approver to that particular step at a single, to that particular security group at a single go. For example, if I am mentioning anything here as B, and then if I mention it as B, so in that case, both these steps will go as a parallel step. Means it will automatically go to the manager. I will make it as a manager. It will be processed, compensation administrator. It will be processed simultaneously. That means this manager change information, personal information action that manager needs to be take will go to the manager. And since both these steps are the parallel steps, we have mentioned them as the parallel steps. Automatically, this will also go to the compensation administrator at the same time. Parallel step means both the steps will go to the respective security group at the same time. Usually what the process is first, the manager will complete this. Then once the manager complete this particular step, Manager has taken action on this particular step, then the next step will get followed. Compensation administrator. Then it will to the compensation administrator. But now what will happen is, if I have mentioned anything as a parallel step, inbox order, that means auto parallel reboot. This step will go to the manager, and then this step will go to the compensation administrator. It won't wait for the manager to complete his or her step. Parallel step in order will means it will go to the respective security group at a time. To both the security group at a time. It won't wait for the first one step to get complete. Hope I am clear with the parallel step inbox order column. Now coming as the notes. If you want to mention anything as note. For example, I want to. This step will go to manager. This is a security group manager who is responsible for this particular step for taking the action. Now I want to mention something here. Change information should include only name change or number change. Contact change I can mention. So that it would be an FYI for the manager. So if I want to mention any note, I can mention it here for this particular security group. Now coming to the type. If you look into this type, type what kind of task we want to perform. Now going towards the type of something is happening with this tenant. I think, see, here it's written. Because schedule has failed. So now, type will be the type of task we want to perform on that particular. For example, they want to take any action. That means if the type is action, it will go to the manager inbox as an action. That means some action is pending for you. Where did it go? I'm talking about the steps that this particular security group is responsible, or that is responsible where it will go, where the manager or the respective security group will have that particular step that they need to take action. If I want to take action on anything, if I want to approve something or take action on anything, and definitely it will go to my inbox. Now I want to take action. I want to approve something. Manager want to approve something or manage, or some Workday account needs to be created, or any kind of task that needs to be performed will be taken care by this particular task. Whether I want to take approval, whether I want to do any kind of. We can say that any kind of approval, chain management is needed, or any kind of request is needed. So there are various types that we can take action on, that we can perform on our business process, that will be mentioned by this type column. Now specify what all things that you want to take action will be specified here. For example, I want to have an approval here for my business process for my hire BP. I want to propose compensation for my hire BP. So everything that needs to be taken care of action, we have to specify that particular action. We have to specify that particular task here. Now I will show you. I think it's blocked now. But I don't have required access to do that. So what? All things that you want to specify will be mentioned. You have to mention it here whether we want to change. We want to propose a compensation. We want to change something. We want to approve something. All the kind of things will be specified here. Optional means whenever it will go to any of the business. It will go to the inbox for the manager, inbox of the compensation administrator. So, whether they want to skip, they don't want to take any action. They don't want to change personal information, so it will be mentioned here if I have marked it as yes. Optional yes means that particular security group can skip that task. Always remember if I have marked anything as optional as yes, that means that particular security group can skip that particular task. For example, now change personal information. I don't want manager to change any personal information, or it is not necessary for the manager that he or she is going to change that particular change any personal information. So we can mark it as yes. That means manager can skip that particular instead of changing or instead of asking back question to the HR partner what needs to be changed. Because manager will be confused why I want to change any personal information. If the person is being hired, he or she can self-change the information. They can simply mention their own. I don't need to enter anything. So they can simply go ahead and skip that particular step. If only if you have marked it as optional. Otherwise, definitely manager has to take the action. Either he or she has to submit it or do some changes or submit it, or he or she can directly click on the submit. But that they cannot skip it. Now coming to the group. Group means the respective security group that is responsible to take action on that particular step. Only the group that is mentioned against that particular step can take action on that particular step. Always remember, no. It will. This change in personal information will only go to the manager inbox. They can. It won't go to the compensation administrator inbox or any benefit administrator inbox. Any other security group. Only if you have defined that particular security group, then only it will go to the approval of that particular security group. Only the group that is mentioned here will be responsible for that particular task. And this we will discuss. Furthermore, the business process you will come to know once we will be doing the hiring. For example, now my client come and say that that's the requirement that are looking at my screen. Higher than proposed compensation. That means first we are going to hire an employee. My project has told me that we want a Workday consultant at. We can say that team lead position. Now manager has told the HR partner they will search for HR or whoever. They have raised the internal thing and all job posting and all. So they will tell that I want hiring. So now HR has found a risk. They have gone through all the interview schedules, everything recruitment and all everything. Offer letter is being released. Now, what they want is they want to hire that particular employee into their system. Now my client, for example, Deloitte. I'm taking Deloitte India as an example. So now in Deloitte India, what they are saying is, we only want simple and straightforward process of hire. First, hire the employee in the respective position that you have created, then send it for the compensation. Send it for the compensation to a particular security group. The security group is HR administrator, HR admin. It should go for the proposed compensation to the HR admin. HR admin should mention the compensation of that particular hire employee. Now, once the compensation has been defined by the HR admin, it should go for the review of the manager. Always remember, review will be done by anyone means if they want. Usually manager will be doing or anything. You can say that. So now, as per the Deloitte India organization, they want the review to be done by the manager. So review will go to the manager, then the account. This is something anything, whether it's termination or anything, if all the steps has been completed. The creating user account or deleting or terminating the user account will be done by the Workday only. So it will be taken as service. It will be done by the Workday. This particular step. Any account that needs to be created by default will be created by the Workday. Then it will go for the onboarding to the benefit administrator. Benefit administrator will be doing the onboarding requirement for the hire now once the hire initiation has been initiated. I have told you there was an initiation step. You have seen in the hire business process also. So once the HR partner has initiated the hire, then proposed compensation once the hiring has been initiated. Once he or she has hired the employee on a position, then it will go to the inbox of the HR admin. Because we have defined in our business process that compensation will be defined by the HR admin. So HR admin will immediately get something here. Once the hiring has been initiated, he or she will get it in the inbox. That proposed compensation change. See here personal information change. Arvind Daniel. Similarly, you will get a proposed compensation change with the employee name. So accordingly, the HR admin will go ahead, and since we are talking about proposed compensation change, he or she will go ahead and edit it. And they will give the salary of that particular employee, and then they will click on the submit. So once we will hire the employee, you will see how it will flow. Once you will create the business process, we will define the security, then we will hire the employee, and you yourself will see how the inbox messages will come for you. How it will go to the compensation administrator. You will proxy as compensation administrator. You will proxy as manager to approve the same. Then only the hiring will be complete. Now we are working on the training tenant. There is no manager compensation administrator for us. So we will proxy it. I will show you how we are working in the system using the proxy. So this is just for understanding how the business process will work or how we are going to create the business processes. Now business process overview. So to bring a new employee, we have already discussed this. To bring a new employee to the organization, the hire business process needs to be initiated. We all know it. A hire process can consist of sub-processes to accomplish. Definitely, there can be proposed compensation. Then compensation will also need approval. It's not. ERA admin will give 10 lakhs to an employee and then it will simply go ahead. It can go for further approval for manager's approval. So they want approval of the compensation as well. It's not. I'm not talking about the approval of the hire. They can also want the approval of the compensation. You have heard it. We have rolled out sometime whenever you are switching into a new company. They will tell you we have already rolled out your offer letter. We are waiting for the approval to happen. Sometimes you have heard it. So definitely, that means if someone has decided a salary, that salary also need approval for some within their own designations in that respective company. So it depends with whom they want that approval. They have defined it in their business process itself. Like, for example, someone has, HR admin has. In our case, we have taken an example. HR admin has proposed the compensation. That means they have mentioned some salary for you. Now they want that to be approved by benefit administrator. We can say that I'm just taking it as an example. They want compensation to be approved. So that means they have assigned their security group in that particular step that approving of the compensation needs to be done by the benefit administrator. So there can be linked sub-processes as well. We will look how we are going to create the sub-processes. Now these are the various business process. If you want, you can note it down because they can ask you in the interview as well. Like what? Can you just list down some of the staffing business processes? In Workday, staffing means something that is related to staff. You are doing staffing. You are hiring or you are doing some action related to staffing. You are just adjusting the employees within. So creation of the position, hire employees, set hiring restrictions, change job and terminate employee. These 5 are examples of the staffing business processes. They are already Workday delivered. Remember, the business processes that you are looking at my screen now are Workday delivered. You will find them with the default definition. You will find them in the system. If you are working on any tenant of Workday, you will find them in the default definition. If not, then definitely someone has changed it. Someone has changed the name. Now compensation. Related to compensation, if they ask you some of the business processes, you can always tell them propose compensation, hire, request one-time payment. All the things that are related to the compensation, you can think in your mind. Definitely they will have some default definition in Workday. If your client requests anything apart from the Workday delivered business processes, then you can always go ahead and create or define those business processes. I will show you how you are going to define it. Once we will create the business processes for our supervisory organization, then later on I will also show you if there is a specific requirement from client that is apart from Workday delivered business processes. You can always go ahead and define your business processes. So, before creation of your business processes, always remember, these are some specific words for Workday. If you use in your interview, they will know that, yes, you have worked on this particular step. So these are some of the cheat codes that you can use in your business processes. So they can come up and say that, for example, they can frame a story. For example, your client has come up with a different requirement of the business processes that is not delivered by Workday or within Workday. So how you are going to proceed further with it? So what you are going to say? Definitely yes. Yes, sir, we can proceed it with. We can go ahead and define the business process first. We can create the steps based on the business process. But before creation of the business process, we are going to define the business process. Once you say this particular line, they will come to know, yes, you have created a business process, and they will be with your business process knowledge. So these are some Workday delivered. They can ask you, can you please tell me a few of the business processes that are related to time off or leave events? So request time off, request leave of absence, correct time off. So this is something that you have to learn, or you have to just buy a heart H. Anything that is related to personal data, events, change personal information, change legal name and change preferred name. That this particular steps needs to be executed by only for the US employers. We will look into our further classes how we are going to create the conditions, various conditions definitely. If a Deloitte country, Deloitte is having a higher business process than for US, they want to review the I-4 or, I-9 form. So that particular step, no need to execute it for Canada or Indian employer. So we will insert a condition for that particular step that if the employer belongs to USA, proceed with this step. So we are going to define the condition in our upcoming classes. It's not like you're going to define the business process based on your country. Business process will only be defined. You can only define the business process and you can create the business process on your supervisory organizations only, not on your country. You can create your business processes on your supervisory organizations only. Nowhere else you are going to create it. Definition. You can define it within the tenant, but if you are going to create it, you are going to create it on your supervisory organizations only. So now these are the some work that Deloitte. I hope that you have noted down these business processes. Apart from this, you can always define business processes. So I have already shown you the hire business process, how it looks like. I have shown you the overview of the hire business process. Also, we have discussed the hire business process pictorial diagram, how it flows. It's just a flow chart we have seen in our high schools. We used to prepare the flow chart. Similarly, the business process diagram is a flow chart of your business process that we have already seen in the system. Now, business process definitions. I have skipped this business process configurable option. So we are going to discuss this report in our later on. First, we will see how we are going to create a business process. Then I will show you what's the use of this business process configurable options report. Now, business process definition. We have already discussed all the columns. So here are few columns that we are going to have the definition of the same, as I have already shown you in the tenant, the relevance, their meaning of the columns. So it would be easy for you to go through the definitions of the same. Why I am again going on to, I can simply skip on these PPTs, why I am going on this. Because they can ask you, what do you understand by order? Because you are going to give interview on the core HCM. It looks simple, but whenever they will ask you the question, you will be left with no words. They will come to and say that, what do you mean by type? How many types are there? Whenever you are defining the business processes, it seems to be easy, but when interviewers ask you, believe me, you will be in a situation you will be left with no words at that time. So just go through the definitions. If you want, you can note it down. That's why I'm going slow, and because this is the important part. Always remember this, business process definitions is important part. So you can configure the business process definition to specify the individual steps that make up the business process. Include as few or as many tasks as necessary. You can specify the order of the steps, define the different step types, and who is responsible to complete the step. You can also configure steps to include validations, skip some steps, and add notifications. So we will see each and everything. How you're going to configure the steps, how you're going to skip the steps, how you're going to define the notifications for the various steps. We will look as we proceed further with our business process class. Once I will create a step-by-step, you will come to know the relevance of each and every step. Workday also allows you to configure definitions that are unique to an organization. I've told you, if I have 10 supervisory organization, if my client wants to create 10 different hire business process for all the supervisory organization, you are always welcome to go ahead and create it. But it's not recommended. Always remember, if you have defined anything for your business process, it's not recommended to create a number of Workday definition. It will make your system only cumbersome. They will come back and say that HR admin will come back and say that I'm stuck in this step. Then you will go ahead and search for the business process first. Then under that, if you have created 10 to 15 steps, it's cumbersome for you only. It's going to create a problem for you only. So always remember, that's what here it is written, try to make refined step. Create more and more conditions on your step. For example, initiation approval. Approval needs to be for USA employee manager, needs to approve it. For Canada employee, HR admin needs to approve it. So go ahead and create a number of conditions, but don't create a number of business processes. Conditions. You can create it, it's fine, but try to minimize the creation of the business processes for each and every supervisory organization. So I have already told you that Workday also allows you to configure definitions that are unique to an organization. For example, the higher business processes used by T could be different than the higher business processes used by HR. They can be different. For example, there is an IT department and there is an HR department. So it might be possible that HR department needs different steps. So you are going to create higher business process for the HR organization separately and then IT department separately. Today I have introduced you to the business process, how business process looks like, how the steps here. We are going to create, copy or link business process definitions. How we are going to link the business process. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.